Okay, everyone, we'll ask you to find your seats. We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, thank you. All right, so thank you for joining us tonight and welcome to the District 5 Budget Town Hall. My name is Asha Smith and I serve as the Director of Equity and Human Rights. I'll be your moderator for this evening. This town hall is part of our annual Budget Town Hall series, and it's your opportunity to let county leaders know what you and your communities think should be funded in the county's fiscal year 27 budget. This evening, we'll hear opening remarks from your District 5 County Council member, Amanda Fiedler. Then, County Executive Pittman and Budget Officer Chris Trumbauer will share a presentation about the county's budget process and the outlook for the fiscal year 27 budget. After the presentation, we'll open the floor for public testimony, and you'll get a chance to share your budget requests. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce the other elected officials we have in the audience tonight. So we have with us from the Board of Education, we have Dana Schalheim. We have representing Delegate Brian Chisholm, Matthew Hagerty. And then we have Delegate Latoya Congola with us. I'd also like to introduce some of our department directors who are here with us this evening. We have Jessica Lays, Director of Recreation and Parks. Claudia Roll, our Director of Animal Services. Skip Auld, our Director for the Public Library System. Sarah Stein, representing Aging and Disabilities. And Erin Day, representing the Department of Public Works. And now, without further ado, to give us her opening remarks, I'd like to introduce Council Member Amanda Fiedler.
Good evening, everyone. It's always great to see familiar faces and new faces for this annual town hall. This is actually the 8th that County Executive Pittman and I have done together. So I just appreciate everyone coming out. I do want to take one quick moment to recognize my aide, Pam Scarborough, who helps me through the thousands of constituent cases we have gotten in the last 7 years. Pam is in the back. Pam, thank you for being here. So before the county executive gets into his presentation, I just want to take a few minutes to tell you why it's so important that you're here tonight. Being part of this process the entire way is really important, but tonight is especially important because the county council does not get the budget until May 1st. We hear rumors and snippets of information, and sometimes we'll get a little mini preview, but we don't get it until May 1st. And then once the county council gets the budget on May 1st, we have 45 days to only make cuts. But there's a positive to that. However, this bar graph just gives an indication of the time frame that the executive staff has to work on the budget. That's the lower 8-month bar at the bottom, followed by the orange bar above it. And then the green bar, 1.5 months, and another 0.5 for amendments, is the amount of time comparatively that the county council has to work on the budget. So you being here tonight helps to get your interests and everything that you are advocating for considered by the administration to be part of the budget with all of the time that they put into it. So once the budget gets to the county council, we have a set time frame where we meet with departments, and this doesn't always happen in a week. It could have actually never happen in a week. But over the course of the time frame, you'll see highlighted in green the different times that we have departments come out and share with us what they would like to see. There are 2 opportunities for you to come out again once the budget is released to make public statements based on what you see in the budget, what you would like to see added to the budget in a supplemental. And then At the very end, the 10th of June, this is an example from 2024, is the amendment day, supplemental day, and then we strike the budget. So you'll see there is not a lot of white open day blocks in between. So this is rapid pace, nearly around the clock work that the county council does. But even though we are restricted to just making cuts, those cuts can turn into wins for you, and that's why being here and having me hear you is important, because what you say here tonight, what you continue to voice throughout the budget process, are the things that I consider when we know how much money we have to work with for the supplemental. The council works together individually and comes up with our priorities, and as long as there are 4 council members who share the same priority, the budget office and the county executive have historically been supportive of our requests. In just last year's budget, in the supplemental, we were able to put $87,000 towards the salary stipend for National Certified Board Counselors, $28,500 to the public library for new positions, $500,000 to Recreation and Parks for renovation backlogs, and I was able to get 2 really important additional fundings for sidewalks in my district, for Bayberry and B&A Boulevard and Asquith Oaks. That was a request that I made in the CIP budget for District 5. So with that, I'll turn it over to the county executive. But again, thank you for being here tonight. Please continue to be part of the process.
So the 8 months is really more like 12 months because it's all the time, it seems. And for the budget office, it's definitely all the time working on the next year's budget, and sometimes budgets for years and years ahead. So this is my last year's county executive, so that's my last round of budget town halls. We've done 7 every year. The charter says we need to do 2, but we do them in every district. And then we do 1 in Spanish that's virtual at the end of all of that. And Chris and I both speak Spanish the whole time, and we can fluently say everything there is about budgets. I speak a little bit of Spanish. I don't know about Chris. But these things are not they're not usually fun. In fact, we did the first one last night in District 7 down at Southern High School. And it's the same old feeling. Every year you go into the budget, I go into the budget hoping that it'll be easier than the years before, and that this job will get easier. Every year, Trumbauer gives us the projections for revenues, and other than the COVID year, they've been pretty good. That was the belt-tightening year. We really thought the economy was going to collapse. But we've had good economies, and we have a really great county to do business in. We have wealth here. The tax base is very, very strong. We have the highest bond ratings you can have. So I feel lucky about that. But every year, and you'll see the chart this year, every year the demands on the resources of the county get bigger as well. And inflation makes costs go up, and it is the same old exercise. It's really, really hard. I can tell you that what you say in these budget town halls really does matter, because when we get to the part of the budgeting that is the maybes, what we hear in these budget town halls really matters. I wrote a statement for this budget that I'm going to read to you. Maybe, yes, it is up on the screen. And I just felt like it was important to say this in this last year. Budgets are a statement of values and strategy. The 7 that came before this one demonstrate a belief that government matters. Our schools, our public safety, our environment, our health, and the people who live here all benefit when we invest in effective government. This is the last budget that I will present as county executive, and my commitment is to remain fiscally disciplined, to continue seeking the wisdom of our residents, and to prioritize opportunities for those among us who have too often been left behind. We enter this process with the highest bond ratings, the highest reserves, the greatest infrastructure investments, and the strongest workforce this county has ever had. The final budget must leave for the next administration a house in good order. So I will leave it at that and turn it over to Chris Trumbauer to entertain you, educate you, regale you, and say whatever he'd like to say about this year's budget.
Thank you so much, County Executive, for that stimulating introduction. Way to set expectations high. So hey everybody, I'm Chris Trumbauer. I'm the Friendly Neighborhood County Budget Officer. I'm looking out here, I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces, so I know some of you have seen the slideshow before. So I got good news for you. We made it shorter and simpler this year. So I'm going to run through it pretty quickly, and then we're going to get to the main event, which is listening to you guys tell us community priorities, right? So first thing is, and this is fun because it's color-coded, this is the budget process. You heard Councilmember Fiedler speak a little bit about this before. But basically, right now, the important thing is no budget decisions have been made, right? Nothing has been decided, which is why it's so important that we have these now to get community input before the county executive has to start deciding where we're going to focus our energy, right? So right now we're having the budget town halls, and then the budget office will get all the department requests. We review them, we vet them, we make recommendations to the county executive. A little bit later in March, he meets with the departments, they make their case, and then in April is when we start making the final decisions that go into the proposed budget, which gets introduced to the county council on May 1st. So that's where you see blue turns into green, and then once that happens, in the yellow boxes, this is when the county council is control of the budget. They review the budget with the Office of the Auditor, they can make amendments, they can make cuts, they can request supplemental additions to the budget. This all happens usually in early June is when most of the action is, and then the charter requires us to approve the budget by the 15th of June. It becomes effective July 1st. That's the start of the fiscal year. So as Councilmember Fiedler mentioned, that's 45 days, but there's a lot that happens. It's pretty quick, but we've had a pretty successful partnership. Last year, the budget passed unanimously, and as we'll see in a minute, we've got some pretty cool things to show for the last several years. So we'll go to the next slide. This is just a review. Hey, where's the money come from? You guys know, it's taxes, right? So the big chunks here, the blue and the red slices of the pie, that's income tax and property tax. That's about 3/4 of our revenue base. There's lots of other important things. There's the real estate taxes, there's license and permits and fees and things like that. But the real meat of it is that 75%, that's income and property taxes. If you look down at the bottom, it's about $2.4 billion operating budget, right? That's a lot of cake. All right, next slide. This is going to show you the opposite. Hey, where's the money go? Guess what? We're sitting in a school, and that's where about half of our money goes to our good friends in the public education system, and they have 80,000 students to educate. And about half of our operating budget goes to the school system. Now, we're very lucky in our county because we have a great relationship with the superintendent, the Board of Education on the staff level, and we work well together, so that's money well spent for our education system. If you look at the other big chunks, we have our public safety core groups, we have land use, we have general government, which is like the boring departments like Office of Budget, right, to just keep everything running. But this is the slices of the pie where your tax dollars get spent. All right, so what do we have? It's always nice to look at the current year. We're about halfway through fiscal 2026. So what are some of the highlights? Well, the good news is this year we reduced your property tax rate by 0.6 cents, right? That doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is. A lot of counties last year raised their property taxes. We dipped it down a little bit, so that's a nice little story. We have a rainy day fund, which is our reserve fund, just like many of you hopefully have some savings at home to tuck away for when things get bad. We have that at the county. We call it our rainy day fund. We're up to about $179 million. When, not if, but when the next economic downturn happens, that's money that we can use to plug in the gaps so we don't have to lay off employees or reduce services or take any other drastic measures. We also extended some critical social programs that we started during the pandemic, and we found out even though the pandemic ended, these were still really helping a lot of county residents. So we're continuing some of those programs that are really making a big difference, and we're doing that now with recurring county general funding. We also were able to invest this current year a record of $52 million of new funding to the school system. So they get almost $1 billion a year, but each year we try and give them a little bit more than last year. This year we gave them a record $52 million extra dollars, which was really great. We created 14 new public safety positions, and as the county executive mentioned, we maintain the best possible bond rating that you can get in the entire universe. We got the best one from all 3 bond rating agencies. It's AAA, and that means that we're getting the lowest interest rates and our dollars are going as far as they can on our capital budget side. All right, so now look at our neighbors, right? Everyone likes to look at their neighbors, how are they doing, right? Okay, so when we look at our neighbors, we compare very favorably. If you're living in Howard County, if you're living in Baltimore County, if you're living almost anywhere else in Maryland, you are paying higher property tax than Anne Arundel County residents. So we're the gold bar there, and you can see all of the counties that are on this side, they're paying a higher rate. There's a few counties on this side that are paying lower, but you're going to have to move to Allegheny County or St. Mary's or Wacomico if you want that lower rate. Now, that arrow shows you how our ranking went to the right when we lowered our property tax last year. So we were, I think, the 12th lowest, and now we're the 9th lowest in Maryland. Pretty good. If you like that, I got even better news for you on the income tax side. We are the gold bar again. Everybody to the left of us paying higher income taxes than we are. We're the 5th lowest average rate in Maryland. So it's a little noisy. There's a lot going on here, and the reason is because we are one of only 2 counties that has a progressive income tax structure. That means that you're paying a lower rate on the first $50,000 of your income, then you pay the middle rate, and if you're fortunate enough to make more than $400,000 a year, then the amount over 400, you're paying the higher rate, which is 3.2. So that way we have a little bit different structure for some folks that might be towards the lower end of the income scale based on compared to some of the more affluent folks. All right, here's a visual depiction of our rainy day fund. We've really built that up over the last several years in partnership with the county council. We had to pass some legislation, and the council was a great partner in this to get it up to the level it is now, and our commitment is that we fund it to the maximum level we can every year, because believe me, we're going to need it one day. All right, so this is, as the county executive mentioned, it's his last year in an 8-year term. He's actually the first county executive, hopefully, that will finish his full 8-year term since Janet Owens. It's been a while, right? So we reflect a little bit, and we wanted to show some appreciation for the folks that have allowed us to do all these successes that we're talking about. We have a very strong fiscal foundation. We like to thank our county council partners because they pass the budget and they make it better every year. They pass amendments, they find errors, they do things, and so we wouldn't be here without them. Our county workforce and our labor unions and bargaining units, they have a continued strong partnership with us that we work with them every year to come with agreements. Our county department heads, some of whom are here tonight, they give their all every day, and the rank and file and the county workforce make all the things happen that many of us take for granted every day. And then finally, I mentioned earlier, we have a really great relationship with our Board of Education, and we want to be careful not to take that for granted, because I have peers in other jurisdictions that do not enjoy the same relationship, and life is a lot harder when you don't get along with your public school system. So thanks to Dr. Bedell and Board of Ed members. I think at least one is here. Hi, Dana. All right, public safety funding. This is something that's very important, big priority for this administration and hopefully all administrations. I've got some facts and figures here, but we are very proud of the investment that we've made. We have had some success in boosting salaries and recruiting more public safety officers. By no means is the work done. We are not hanging a mission accomplished banner behind us, right? But we do want to celebrate the investments that we've made. So since 2018, when County Executive Pittman came into office, we've increased by 43.6% our public safety salaries, and we've added 164 filled public safety positions during that time. Firefighter, police officers, and sheriff vacancies have all declined. I'd like to particularly highlight the sheriff vacancies because they were really high as much as a year or two ago. Sheriff Sesker and our personnel team have worked very closely together to try and reduce those, and we're down 21.6% just a year ago to 6.8% now. Lots more work to do, but we are continuing to invest in our public safety. I want to talk for a second about schools. This is a big success story. Since 2018, we've had a $294.5 million increase in the direct county funding to our school system. That's 43% over just 7 years. We've got a lot to show for that. We've got a big dip in our chronic absenteeism. We now have 15 five-star schools in the county, and over half of our schools are either 4-star or 5-star schools, according to the state rating system. That's incredible progress, and we're really proud of that. Just a year or two ago, we made a big move to boost starting teacher salaries so we could start to address the vacancies and attract more teachers to Anne Arundel County, and it worked. We went from 19th in starting teacher salaries all the way up to 4th, and I'll show you a slide in a minute to show you the consequence of that. And our instructional staff retention rate is now almost 96% for classroom teachers, so that's really great. So here's what this looks like, okay? On the left, classroom teacher vacancies. We've got a total now this year of about 6,190 classroom teachers, right? A few years back in 2022, we had 283 vacancies. When there's a vacancy, that's a teacher that's not in a classroom, and we have to fill it somehow, and it means class sizes are higher or things are moved around. So the year after that, we made some progress, 171, then 2024 was 69. This year, or the most recent year, 2025, the start of the school system in this school year, 32 vacancies. That's 0.5%, 0.5% vacancy. I can tell you all of our other department directors are looking around. They love to have that vacancy rate, right? That's huge progress. And why is that? Because we boosted the teacher salary, and now teachers want to come here. Some other departments in other counties, they may be laying off teachers this year. We're still hiring, okay? Bus drivers. Remember a few years ago when your kids couldn't ride the bus, like after the pandemic, and there was a whole big thing? 93 vacancies out of 625 in 2022. Huge progress there. Again, we boosted salaries. We invested in recruitment efforts. We went down to 68. Last 2 years, 0 bus driving vacancies, right? Take that, Amazon Prime drivers. They're driving Anne Arundel County buses now. All right, so I know you're tired of me talking about the current budget. You're here to talk about what's ahead, right? So here's our crystal ball slide. What does Chris Trumbauer see looking ahead? In our revenues, things look pretty good. Property tax is going to be stable. We know that. We're feeling good about that. Remember, that was the biggest slice of the pie. Income tax still looks pretty good. The growth is slowing a little bit. The labor market is weakening, but we think we'll be okay for at least a little while. Recordation and transfers, our real estate taxes, that's flat, okay? And why is that flat? Because mortgage rates are high. No one's refinancing. No one's buying homes when they have a 2% mortgage rate. They don't want a 6% mortgage rate, right? So until that mortgage interest rate goes down, we're going to have flat real estate taxes. And that is an important component of our overall revenue. So the good news is, when that comes back up, we'll have more money to spend. Bad news is, that ain't yet. Okay, expenditures. This is when money goes out the door. A couple things are influencing this. These are kind of like built-in costs that we have to factor in. We've had a lot of wage growth, which is good to our employees, but this has a follow-on cost of pension costs and other things. Our debt service payments are going up because we're doing more projects on our capital budget, and we're adding operating costs from the capital projects that are coming online, right? When we bring a new park online, we have to have park ranger and maintenance and mow the lawn. When we bring a new county facility on, we have to staff that. So as those come on, we have more built-in costs to get spread throughout our budget. And then finally, like the external factors, what's keeping me up at night? The 3 we're going to highlight here is the federal landscape, okay? Regardless of whether or not we end up invading Greenland, there are some things that are happening right now that are affecting us in terms of federal grants, federal funding for important programs that we're doing, and that will have an impact, because if we want to keep those programs going, we'll have to backfill that with county dollars. School enrollment is down. A lot of reasons for that, but it's flat at best, but it's declining, and that means a decrease in state funding, because that's based on enrollment. If we get less state funding, we have to make that up with county dollars to keep doing all the things we want to do in our school system. And then finally, our friends at the state, you've probably read the articles, but they have a state deficit situation. And last year, they shifted some costs on to local governments. It was about $12 million for us. We have our fingers crossed that we won't have to do that this year, but they have a big budget hole that they're going to have to address, and so we have to keep an eye on that. All right, so now we're going to do the county executive's favorite part, because he has to do this in real life in a few months. But this is when we present him a line item of what everything is costing and how much revenue, incremental revenue we have to spend. Okay, so at the very top, you can see at this moment in time, and we have an asterisk because it could change, we're estimating about $120 million of new county recurring revenue. That's incremental revenue, more money than we'll have next year. Remember, it's a $2.4 billion budget, but this is $120 million that we'll have to spend on new things or built-in increases. increases, okay? So then you look at this, this table here. The top third of that, we call those built-in increases or non-discretionary. These are things we have to do no matter what. We have to pay our debt service. We have to pay our pension contribution, our retiree health care. We have to pay health insurance, our vehicle rates, all these things. We just get the numbers, and that goes right off the top, right? So remember, I started at 120 million. We're estimating at this point, that's probably about 40 million. So we'll take that right off the top. We're down to what? Right, Councilwoman Fiedler, that's 80 million now. So that's good math. So then we have to pay our employees, right? And we negotiate and we do with our bargaining units. We have contracts. We don't know what that is yet because that process is underway. Last year we had a 3% cost of living, and it was about $21 million. So we don't know what it'll be this year. Inflation's a little bit down, but let's just, for the sake of this exercise, let's say 20 million. So now, remember, we were at 80. Now we're going to subtract another 20, and that is, yes, Mr. Executive, now we're at 60. So now we basically cut that in half. We have $60 million. That's still a lot of cake, right? I'd love to have $60 million to dole out. Guess what? School system requests this year, 100 million. 60 million? 100 million. And that doesn't include library system, community college, our departmental base increases if our departments want to do some supplemental things. So all that now has to come out of that $60 million. So now you know why County Executive Pittman stood up here a minute ago and said that these aren't fun. Because you guys are going to get up and tell us all the amazing things you want the county to do, and we're not going to have the resources to do all of it. So we do the best we can. We prioritize. We check every nickel, and we try and put it into things that are going to make the most difference for the most people in the county. But this is just an exercise to show you that we have limited resources, and we put them where we possibly think is the best. Okay, so that's about it for me. I think we've got a couple more slides to round out. If you like budget stuff, and I know you do, I got good news for you. We got lots of resources. You can go to our Open Arundel page and get lots of budget information. You can go to our Budget Buddy and you can drill down into departmental budgets and see exactly where the money is spent. You can go to the Budget Office page and get this year's budget or past year budget books, or you can go and get this presentation on aacounty.org/yourbudget, and that's the kind of home of all the town hall stuff. And then the final slide is just to remind you, if you're not going to get up and speak tonight, or you know somebody that couldn't come and they want to give their input, budget-comments@aacounty.org. Every comment is read. Every comment is cataloged. These do make a difference. What you guys tell us today and what we read, the county executive and his team see these, and this does influence the decisions that we ultimately make on the budget. So thanks so much for your attention. I'm going to get out of your way. I'm going to turn it back over to Asha, and we're going to hear what you guys have to say.
Okay, well, I guess you guys know everything that you need to know about the budget. We could give you a quiz on what we're spending in every sector and you'd know the answers. I am glad that Chris took care of that because, frankly, it's much easier for me to just sit up here and let you ask your questions and give your testimony. So bear with me just a second, and we are going to go ahead and move into the next part of our evening. I'm just pulling up our speaker list. Okay, how many of you have done this before? All right, so it seems like most of you know the drill. This is your chance to let county leaders know what you would like funded in the 2027 budget. Each speaker is going to have 2 minutes to give their testimony. You'll see a timer on the screen, and that's going to help you to keep track of time. For the sake of time, the county executive and council member won't respond to every comment, but they're listening and taking notes. So this means that we're not going to ask the county executive questions. We're not going to ask the councilwoman questions. We're going to come up, and our house is going to be in order, and we're going to be timely and say what we have to say. I am going to start by calling the names of the people who signed up to speak, okay, when you checked in. And we're going to start with the residents of District 5, and then we're going to let everyone else who's on the list speak. I'm going to be calling a few names at a time. So when I call your name, I'm going to ask you to stand if you can, in line in the order in which I've called you behind the mic. After we've gotten through the entire list, there'll be an opportunity for those who didn't sign up at all to speak if you feel so inclined. If we don't have time to hear from you tonight, or you think of something else, you can email your request to budget-comments@aacounty.org, okay? And Chris already told you that there's a budget buddy and a budget friend and a budget page that you can go to, and it's all going to have information for you. All right, so starting with the residents of District 5, I'm going to ask Arjan Van Arundel, Kimberly Fenn, Simona Simmons, and Kathy Hall-Gway to please line up at the mic. And Arjan, please feel free to start.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, county executive and elected officials, for this opportunity. I want to thank you for an opportunity to pledge for more transportation and multimodal transportation in our county, because transit is needed for our most vulnerable residents in our county. And since 2009, public transportation and transportation has always been listed as one of the top 3 priorities for our county. And lack of reliable transportation impacts the most vulnerable residents, including low-income families, families with disabilities, young adults, and elderly. Addressing those transportation needs also helps addressing the following county issues. Transit is needed to mitigate congestion. Only 3.3% in our county uses transportation other than a car, so changing this will reduce congestion. Transit is also needed for economic development. We have about 23,000 businesses in our county, and the barrier for people to get to their jobs is in many cases reliable transportation to match the required work hours. Transit also helps to mitigate pollution and can also increase resiliency for especially students who were not able to make it to their schools. Having a more extensive transit system will reduce the pressure on already our expensive transportation system. So commitment is needed for services, and that can also be addressed in the dollars that are being accounted for transportation. Currently, that is about $12 million per year, complemented with some transit grants, as opposed to other counties. For example, Howard County has $17 million, Prince George's $31 million, Montgomery County $138 million. So we recommend a $5 million increase to the current transit operating budget to a total of $17 million, not including potential use for an electric ferry. With that, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to make sure that there is always an opportunity for people to get to where they want, even if they don't have a car. Thank you.
Well done. I'm going to ask everybody to follow Arjan's example. He came in right under the wire. And I'm also going to remind our speakers to please speak directly into the microphone to ensure that we can hear you.
Good evening. I'm Kimberly Fenn. I live in the Winchester neighborhood, but my mother lives in Pines on the Severn. I'm here to ask for prioritization of an investment in social infrastructure around Pines on the Severn. That neighborhood is getting a tremendous amount of development pressure from the Chick-fil-A, which our neighborhood has been fighting for over a year at a self-funded cost, and the proposed development of the Saperda Park Golf Center. When I say social infrastructure, I mean sidewalks, pocket parks, things that are going to maintain the quality of life for residents in our community, our safety, and our children. I do not believe that in the agreement with Chick-fil-A that there is a community development, a community benefit agreement, which I find absolutely astonishing, that kind of volume operator could be allowed to develop that site without essentially making a commencement of investment in our community that is going to be disproportionately affected. In addition to the social infrastructure, I would ask that you fund an ombudsman, somebody who can be our counterpoint, because our neighborhood is stuck in the middle of 2 very significant development cycles. I actually am supportive of development of the golf course, but with a meaningful amount of mixed income and workforce housing. We have a number of firefighters here. 133 units with a minuscule amount of affordable units is simply not what is a reflection of the values, I believe, of our community. And finally, I just want to give a shout out to the volunteers here from the animal shelter and ask for your continued support and strong funding for that important community resource, which brings such joy to many of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Simona Simmons. I'm a longtime librarian and board member. I'm here this evening to support the library's supplemental budget request, specifically for staff salary increases, and ask for your help to fund mission-critical positions. I've seen libraries change over the years. What has never changed is their purpose. Libraries exist to help people live better lives. Today's libraries are cornerstones of their communities. Libraries are sometimes criticized for evolving, but evolution is driven by community need. Library staff are deeply connected to the people they serve. They see challenges up close and they respond quickly and thoughtfully. Librarians are educators, technology guides, job counselors, social workers, information experts, often all in the same day. Libraries help families prepare their children for kindergarten and support early literacy through programs that build confidence and love of reading. They connect people to resources including health and safety, offering COVID tests, gun locks, and etc. These are not distractions from the library's mission. They are expressions of it. The mission of the AACPL is to build stronger communities. I would like to thank County Executive Pittman and Councilman Fiedler, and I want to conclude by saying, finally, Google gives you 1,000 answers, but your library expert can give you the right one. Thank you.
Well done.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Hall-Gway. I am a resident, and I'm also one of your special educators for Arundel County. I'm here to ask for a few things, and as you've already heard from those who've spoken before me, my job would be impossible without any of them. And so please, especially the fire department and the library and transportation, many of my students in the school where I teach have no transportation. And it was amazing. It made us very happy that we were able to have so much more coming into our county with the bus driver situation that we had before. So thank you very much for listening. Also, thank you very much for made us very happy to finally be paid for what I feel like I went to school for. So thank you very much. I am very concerned and sad about the current administration's cut to special education. So I am here to please, I'm saying current way up, not here. I know how everybody cares deeply about our children, and we're all here, and I work in an environment where all of our children are fostered with love and care, and we really do need the 82.2 special education positions and some more of the service provider positions, and funding for the TSAs, the temporary support assistants, who I could not do my job without. I did it for many years myself, and at 8 years at $8 an hour. So when I was here, then I became a TA, and then our lovely school system put me through. I got a scholarship and I became a teacher. So I will be part of, sadly, exiting this year, probably retiring. So you may need more than those 82.2 positions. Thank you. What's that? Is it? Sad face. Yes. I'm sad. Yes. Very sad. There's so much more I wanted to say. But thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask Linda Mazer, Leah Paley, Blair Christie, and Joseph Everett to please approach the mic stand in that order. And just as a reminder, please ensure that when you're speaking into the mic. Again, that's Linda Mazer, Leah Paley, Blair Christie, and then Joseph Everett. Go ahead.
Good evening, County Executive Pittman and Councilwoman Fiedler. My name is Linda Mazer, and I'm the chair of the Animal Welfare Council and a District 5 resident. Thank you both for being staunch supporters of the animals in Anne Arundel County and for providing funding for many of Animal Services' past budget requests, including additional staff positions and shelter-specific software. Also, thank you for restructuring Animal Services as a standalone department and for passing legislation that has benefited the animals and residents of the county. 3 years ago, the Animal Welfare Council began advocating for a new shelter in a different location, fully staffed as a standalone department, no longer under the police department. While the restructuring as a standalone department has been completed, several staff positions have been added, Animal Services still desperately needs an adoption events coordinator and a new building in a new location. The Animal Welfare Council has reviewed the facility assessment report on the current Animal Services building. As expected, the conclusion was that a new building in a new location is needed. There are health risks and unsafe conditions for both humans and animals in the current building. This building is just under 20,000 square feet, but a building over 31,000 square feet is needed. The new building will cost approximately $9 million, not including the land. We understand the capital improvement process takes about 5 years, and we ask that that process be started as soon as possible. In closing, we thank County Executive Pittman for hosting annual budget town halls, which animal advocates have participated in from the start. These town halls have been critical to improving animal welfare in our county. While it's unclear whether future administrations will continue them in each district, the Animal Welfare Council remains committed to keeping it in the forefront.
Thank you. Just a reminder, if the mic is too low for you, or you just feel free to adjust it.
Good evening. My name is Leah Paley. I am the CEO of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank and also a District 5 resident for the past 10 years. Thank you for the opportunity to share input this evening. On behalf of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank, thank you to the county for your longstanding support, which in 2026 included $1.5 million in funding. With these funds, we distributed fresh, nutritious food to our neighbors experiencing food insecurity through our network of partners responding to the increased needs seen across the county over the last 2 years as the cost of living continued to soar. On behalf of the food bank, I respectfully ask that you include $2 million in the FY27 budget for our organization's work. The number of people experiencing food insecurity in our county sits at just over 66,000. That's 11.2% of our county's population. 40% more than 2 years ago. That number is up. From July through December of this year, right here in District 5, through our partnership with 2 pantries, 6 schools, and 1 on-site feeding center, we provided over 5,000 instances of assistance to our neighbors experiencing food insecurity. Last year across the county, we distributed 5.3 million pounds of food and basic essentials. Currently, we're averaging over 52,000, yes, that's 52,000 instances of assistance each month. To meet the demand for supplemental food, our projected food budget next year is $6.3 million. That's 22% more than it was 2 years ago. We need the county's help. Please, please invest our county resources where they're needed most and continue to partner with us so we can alleviate food insecurity in our county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I am here to support our fantastic CEO. My name is Blair Christie. I'm a resident of District 5 and a board member of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. I want to thank you both for the opportunity to speak. These are amazing. I've learned so much. More importantly, I do want to reiterate Leah's thanks and appreciation for your support last year and the $1.5 million that you gave to the food bank. But tonight I am also here to respectfully ask that you include $2 million for the Anne Arundel County Food Bank in the FY 2027 county budget. As Leah explained, the need in our community is rising. To make it very specific, last November of 2025, we served 30% more people than the year before. That's almost 66,000 people in 1 month and over 18,000 households just in the month of November. And for these neighbors, the food bank and the local pantries that we support are the difference between eating or paying their rent. It's the difference between feeding their children or buying medication or heating their homes. And unfortunately, the cost to procure and distribute this food is really rising, as we all know. And I personally have been involved with food insecurity initiatives for decades at the national level, at the state level, and there are two things that still stand out to me here at home. First, the need is often hidden. Every morning on the 15-minute drive to school, my family passes a food pantry that the Anne Arundel County Food Bank serves. So it is a daily reminder that the people we are serving are our neighbors, our neighbors. And second, this work is incredibly complex. In my time on the board, I have been so impressed with the efficiency and the efficacy of the food bank. Throughout my career, I've worked for substantial organizations, and I can tell you I know what complex engines look like, and the Anne Arundel County Food Bank is one of the most effective operations I have seen. I can say with confidence that they maximize every dollar to go to those directly in need. So please, I know you want to invest with the most impact and the most positive outcome for our teams and our residents. That is the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Joseph Everett. I'm here to talk about the Oakton Maintenance Yard move to our neighborhood. Last time I was here, you told me that the DPW told you that the study that was done was valid. I just want you to be aware of some of the parts of that study. In the initial phase of that study, the land was listed as not zoned for compatible use, but in the second phase of the study, it was listed that the adjacent zoning was correct. How could that be? The neighborhood acceptance rank in that study was listed as 1, yet nobody from the county spoke to anybody in my neighborhood about the movement. From your community engagement section of your State of the Address A Way Forward email, we ask our public servants to take the time to engage with residents. It's impossible for the community to be engaged when no community engagement was sought. The second phase of the study states that there's going to be a minimum of 50 feet vegetated buffer along the property. The planning and zoning officer findings and recommendations for the original zoning for the land set a minimum of 100 feet from the boundaries of that tract as remaining in its natural and undisturbed state. Is the county choosing to ignore that zoning hearing finding? Another requirement was the 7% maximum slope for the entranceway. The drawings that we saw at the landfill calculate out to a 9% slope. The county has a budget item called landfill buffer expansion, and its goal is to expand buffer between the landfill property and surrounding neighborhoods. That only applies to the eastern side. The western side doesn't seem to fall into that category. Also, the 2024 Green Infrastructure Annual Report shows that this land is in the Conserved Green Infrastructure Network. This aspect wasn't even considered in the study. In that same Way Forward email, you stated we've accelerated land preservation. This really seems to be contradictory to me, that you preserve land and then you take it away. And so finally, I kindly requested funds be used to perform a new study to find a location that truly meets the standards that you have set for this county to operate. Thank you.
Thank you. Right on time. Well done. Okay. Next, we'll have, if you'll please approach the mic, John Corin, Cherie Devlin, Mitch Burke, and Carolyn Matthews. Just as a reminder, you have 2 minutes, and please make sure that you speak into the microphone.
Why were you looking straight at me when you
I
said
did
that?
not. I promise you. I promise you.
John Corin, Bicycle Advocates for Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. I'll start off with a pop quiz. What's one thing that we can do that reduces traffic, protects our environment, improves health, stimulates the economy, and makes the county a more affordable and fun place to live? Walk and bike, but we need safe infrastructure to do it. So I'll start off with a thank you, and I'll look at my friends Jessica and Erin down there. We declared 2025 the year of the Trail Bridge because we completed the W&A Trail Bridge over the Patuxent River that links us to Anne Arundel, to Prince George's County, and the Kimwood Drive Bridge that completes the Broadneck Trail. But we have got to do a better job of moving our projects from study to design and then into construction. So far as I know, we only have one project in construction now, South Shore 2. Just up the road here, we need to get the Jumpers Hole Road shared use path, shovels in the ground. The BWI Trail Spur extension, we need to get shovels in the ground. I urge you to invest just a little bit to do a deep analysis to get to root causes of why these projects take so long. It will return multiple thousands of percent if we can find a way to get these projects done quicker and cheaper, and then of course we realize the public benefit sooner. Also, we've got to make sure, as Chris pointed out, that we expend the operating money to maintain facilities. We've got miles and miles more trails now. We need maintenance and rangers. Finally, the grants, we will do our best, but the federal rollback is a real problem, so we're going to have to step up a bit more at the county level. Let the record show I finished right on the money.
You really did. Kudos. All right.
Good evening. My name is Sherry Devlin. I'm a resident of District 5, and I'm here tonight as an advocate for animal services. I first want to say thank you for all that you've already done. Last year's budget increase, moving us out from the control of the police department, and installing an amazing director have truly improved our organization, and we're very grateful. I'm here tonight to once again ask for your support of a new shelter. Ours was built more than 25 years ago as a euthanasia facility. And while we've continuously said that it's inadequate, we now have more than conjecture to prove it. A recently released study commissioned by the Department of Public Works at the bargain price of $164,000 has said that this facility cannot and will not meet the needs of animal services. It identified numerous safety concerns, including deafening noise levels for both the animals and humans. It's just not fit for human or animal consumption. The public spaces were cited as inadequate, and unfortunately we're getting more and more animal give-ups. Lots of residents are taking advantage of our rabies clinics. It's becoming the public face for so many residents, and it's depressing. The study identified the lack of outdoor space, but it didn't begin to address the barriers we deal with every day. The police building has taken away our walking trail, our outdoor spaces. A canine unit has moved in and taken what little space we had left. Maintenance is nonstop on the site, resulting in passages being closed, power outages. Sometimes we can't even get into the building, and animals can't be walked. So many residents want this new facility. Follow our Facebook page. You'll see it. They all want a new facility, and we need it. We know it's not going to happen overnight, but if we don't start planning now, it'll never happen. Maybe even just identify a location. So we thank you for your consideration and your continued support of animal control.
Thank you.
My name is Mitch Burke. I'm the president of the Cape St. Clair Recreation Council. I'm here to speak about the new equity initiative that prevents nonprofit organizations from funding improvements to the parks they hold permits for, based upon the idea that it would be unfair to organizations that cannot afford to do so. I would like to offer a different perspective. CAPE is actually one of the smaller organizations that this initiative is supposedly meant to protect. Let me be very clear. Seeing other organizations receive significant park upgrades does not bother us. We're genuinely happy for them, and those programs deserve success. If our neighbors across College Parkway wanted to fund a new turf field at Broadneck Park, would we object? Absolutely not. We'd be happy for the kids. We'd be happy for the families. That's what community should be all about. And would you really turn down a brand new turf field at Broadneck Park? That's not progress. That's not moving forward. That's holding back. What I truly struggle with is how to explain to our coaches, parents, and children that while the two largest football programs in Anne Arundel County just recently received capital improvements, we are being told we cannot use our own responsibly saved funds to improve the parks in our community. Prior leadership at CAPE has spent the past 20 years trying to save every dollar they can, and all we are trying to do is reinvest that money back into the community we serve. Our ball fields at Cape St. Clair Park haven't seen significant upgrades in over 30 years, and we're told we can't fix that because someone might think it's unfair. That's not equity, that is stagnation. If nonprofit organizations are willing and able to invest in their parks, that should be encouraged, not blocked. Those investments would allow the department to redirect the limited public funds to other parks more quickly, helping more communities overall. That is progress. What we are doing right now is the opposite, and it just doesn't make any sense. I strongly urge the executive to reconsider this policy and move toward a case-by-case, common-sense approach, one that rewards fiscal responsibility, encourages improvement, and actually moves our communities forward. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Carolyn Matthews, District 5 resident from College Manor. If you're looking for somewhere to put the shelter, I hear there's a golf course around the corner from us, the nice flat piece of land. But I'm here to ask the county executive and the council tonight to fully fund the budget request for the county library system. Funding is a priority to meet the negotiated staff salary increases and for additional positions that the library determines to be necessary. My husband and I have been Anne Arundel County residents since we bought our first house in 1989. Throughout our years here, use of the library has been a constant for our family. When our sons were young, we spent summers attending summer reading program activities among the different branches. When my mother lost her vision, audiobooks from the library filled her days. And on any given day, there are some number of materials in my checked out or on hold lists on my library account. But beyond the materials and the collections, the library system provides support and community connections to all of our county residents. Investing in the staff positions ensures that the library can continue to respond to community needs, provide high-quality services, and remain a trusted and inclusive space for all. And on another topic, this evening my husband Dan will be speaking about funding for the county food bank. I'm also one of their volunteers, and everything he says.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask the following four people to approach the mic stand. Dan Matthews, Sam Hopkins, Sue Young, and Celia Richardson. Dan Matthews? Yeah, okay.
Thank you, everyone, for this opportunity to provide input to the budget process. I'm here to endorse Leah's request for $2 million in financial support for the great work of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank in the FY27 budget. I have lived and worked in this county most of my adult life. I've been a long-time food bank donor. In retirement, my wife and I have also started volunteering there. Since fall of 2024, we have worked with the mobile food pantry in every corner of the county, Brooklyn Park to Tracy's Landing, Bay Ridge to Bacontown. We have seen firsthand the positive effects for many people living within our community. Everywhere that truck sets up, usually in areas that don't have other regular food pantries nearby, and not always in the best weather, dozens of our neediest neighbors are there seeking to help feed their families as they cope with disruptions to SNAP and other support programs, often on top of other hardships like layoffs and shutdowns, or transportation issues to work, or illness or disability. We don't always know their circumstances, but it's readily apparent that the need is genuine. It was heart-wrenching to see the shell shock in the eyes of a young man coming to the program for the first time. It's also heartening to see the curiosity and joy in the faces of the young children waiting along with their family in line, mostly behaving far better than anyone could expect, alongside the love and determination and perseverance of their parents. Many an engineer would marvel at the elderly folks who have figured out how to strap grocery bags onto their stroller walkers for the shuffle back to their apartments several blocks away. Every single one of those neighbors is grateful for the assistance provided, and I'm lifted up to witness the relief and grace on their faces, knowing that we were able to offer something to this person this day, and pray that it sustains them in the challenges they are yet to face.
Thank you.
My name is Susan Youngs. I live in District 5 and volunteer at Animal Services. With the completion of the facility assessment report of the current Animal Services building in Millersville, and as the county moves forward with the task of locating, planning, and constructing a new shelter, I want to go on record that the new facility must be state-of-the-art and it must embed an architectural firm whose expertise is in design and construction of animal shelters. For example, Rada Architects designed multiple facilities for Best Friends Animal Society. ShelterPlanners.com designed animal shelters in Virginia and North Carolina. Barks in Baltimore City and the new Prince George's County Shelter in Upper Marlboro are new state-of-the-art facilities right here in Maryland. Right now, Animal Services needs an adoption and special events coordinator. This may sound frivolous, but both services are vital to the shelter's mission of getting homeless pets in safe, permanent, and loving homes. Many adopters have questions about their new pet, but don't know who to turn to for help. Sadly, this could land an animal back at Animal Services just due to lack of communication. Personal follow-up is integral to a successful adoption. Taking adoptable animals to sponsored events away from the shelter requires coordination, but it is important and can be very successful, resulting in many adoptions. Currently, our volunteer foster coordinator is doing her work, plus trying to do this unfilled position. It is not possible, and it is not fair to her and the animals. Adding this position will make a huge difference for the animals and the people who care for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name is Sue Young, NBCT school counselor at Belvedere Elementary School, serving 532 students in the Arundel community. I'm also a Severna Park resident, and my husband and I have raised 4 now young adult men in this district. I'm grateful for the partnership between the Board of Education and the County Council in securing last year's amendments. By establishing a baseline salary enhancement, you recognize the specialized expertise of our 8 NBCT school counselors and their impact on students. I also want to acknowledge Danielle Crankfield, who is our current National School Counselor of the Year representing from Anne Arundel County. Her excellence reflects our district's strength, and her pursuit of the MOC exemplifies the rigorous, ongoing standards we maintain as NBCTs. These distinctions remind us that while programs are tools, the dedication of educators is what truly moves the needle. I urge you to fully fund the budget submitted by Dr. Bedell and the Board of Education. Prioritizing competitive staffing and compensation for the school counselors is a direct investment in student success. Because strong schools build strong communities, it is critical that we invest in an education system fully equipped to meet our students' needs. NBCT school counselors are vital to student achievement, removing barriers to learning and driving initiatives that increase AP enrollment, decrease bullying, and improve attendance. Last year, the board recognized this impact by confirming our eligibility for direct service enhancements. However, a gap remains. The current funding does not yet include the maintenance of certification enhancement. We respectfully request that the budget be updated to include the 4 eligible counselors who continue to maintain this rigorous certification. This alignment ensures that those of us building strong homeschool partnerships and supportive learning environments receive the same recognition as our peer direct service providers. Continuing to recognize and invest in highly trained professionals strengthens outcomes for students and the system as a whole. We appreciate your leadership and your steadfast commitment to AACPS in the county. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Hi, my name is Celia Richardson. I'm a Severna Park student here at the high school. I'm a senior, and I just want to take the time tonight to speak on behalf of the Youth Advisory Council of this county. As a teenager, I believe it is imperative that the fiscal year 2027 budget acknowledges and addresses the need for mental health resources in our county. In general, teenagers experience undue stress from family, peers, and school, all of which can trigger dormant mental health issues. That being said, it is difficult for teens to speak up when they need help. In the budget, I would like to see funding dedicated solely towards programs which provide counseling and support to our youth population. It is critical that we continue to fund crisis response services, which was accounted for in the fiscal year 2026 budget. By properly funding this warm line, teens will feel more comfortable reaching out for assistance during their lowest moments. In general, mental health is a crucial aspect of overall wellness, and it should not be pushed to the side. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us tonight, and I really appreciate it.
Testing.
There you
Testing. My name is Sam Hopkins. This is my second presentation. First, yesterday, I've totally rewritten it to try to improve it and stay under 2 minutes. I'm here to support the proposal by the Friends of the Historic Johns Hopkins House for a public-private partnership. This will make the birthplace of Johns Hopkins of great benefit to this county and also to our state and nation. This is of great personal importance to me because I am a three great nephew of Johns Hopkins, and in the last 30 years, my father and then my brothers and I have become involved in preserving, improving, and restoring the other surviving home of Johns Hopkins. This is his former summer home in Baltimore City. It is called Clifton Mansion. Also, my extended family has spent much time in your county in various homes over the last 100 years. The value of saving these two homes is far greater than ever before. Never has the statewide, countrywide, and worldwide admiration been so enormous for all the institutions founded by Johns Hopkins with his name on them. So this county is lucky to have his birthplace within its bounds and still standing. Baltimore City was not so lucky when it bought Clifton Mansion in 1895. Johns Hopkins University had just been founded. It had no particular reputation at all. But it is now lucky that this purchase in 1895 preserved it as part of Clifton Park. And now, since 1993, two public-private partnerships are making the city's purchase a great benefit to the city. So if you adopt the proposal for the same kind of partnership for Johns Hopkins birthplace, you will also get a great benefit. I somewhat half-seriously say artificial intelligence assured me of this. And I will, again, I've went way over 2 minutes, so I will just thank you for your attention and end now.
You didn't go way over. Well done. Thank you. I'm going to call Hannah Lang, Elizabeth Roseberg, Nicole Tello, and Abby Wilson to the mic in that order, please. Hannah Lang, Elizabeth Roseberg, Nicole Tello, followed by Abby Wilson. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Hannah Lang, and I'm a District 5 resident, and I also attend Suburban High School. I'm here on behalf of the Youth Advisory Council as well, and I'm here to ask for the 2027 budget to maintain the priority of mental health. This is something that affects almost all youth in Anne Arundel County, whether it's through personal experience or it's through secondhand by family and friends. By continuing to keep mental health a priority within the county, it will allow more people to use more adequate resources and gain access to the support needed. And in doing so, it helps further prevent long-term issues down the line for any and all people who are struggling with their mental health. I want to ask you to continue investing in the human and health services that were approved from last year's budget, and specifically funding where mental health is accounted and advocated for, in order to do our best to help enhance the well-being of all Anne Arundel County residents and offer our support to the large demographic that faces its challenges every single day. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Elizabeth Rosberg. I'm a District 5 resident, and I'm speaking representing myself tonight. I'm not going to speak about the proposed Chick-fil-A in Arnold or the 135 townhouses on Route 2, but I am going to speak about Route 2. And I wanted everybody to know that there is a proposal to widen Route 2 from Route 50 to Route 10. For those of you who don't know that, Route 2 is a state highway. But the county is going to split the funds for this. It's a $16 million project, $8 million of which we could save right off the bat and give back to the county residents without widening Route 2. The primary stated benefit is time reliability. The local road infrastructure remains outdated, and numerous intersections within District 5 are currently rated D. Several developments, including Canterbury Village, Roxter Estates, Admirals Ridge, Arnold Heights, Freshfields, and Ford's Grant, all built off of Route 2, did not contribute impact fees to support improvements to nearby underperforming intersections. Consolidating funding from those sources could assist in resolving immediate roadway challenges. The number one issue everybody said in Plan 2040 is traffic. Region 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number one issue is traffic. We need to address our traffic infrastructure and improve our roadways before we widen them and create more traffic for people to get to the beach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. I'm short.
It's okay. Me too.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak here tonight. I'm missing my child who is leaving to go back to college to speak here tonight. My name is Nicole Tello. I'm a special educator in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. I'm also a Severna Park resident. I'm a current parent of an Anne Arundel County Public School student, as well as a former graduate. I want you to picture a student who is capable, curious, and eager to learn, but who cannot have access without classroom support. That support is what special education provides, and right now, it is not being funded. Special education is not optional. It is a legal requirement. The moral responsibility and commitment is equity. Yet it remains underfunded and creates real challenges in our schools. Safety is one of them. There are so many special educators and peers and teachers that are getting hurt. There are people who are leaving the profession. Yes, we started with low numbers of vacancies, but now we have a lot more because teachers have left the field of education because they're getting hurt. We also have TSAs that are leaving the profession because they can make more working retail than they do on the job. There are currently 11,200 students with disabilities that rely on special education services. We need to staff and the special education in Anne Arundel County. Insufficient staffing, high caseloads, and limited access to specialized supports increases the likelihood of dysregulation, crisis situations, and classroom disruptions. My child also has gotten hurt in her kindergarten classroom due to lack of support for special education students in that classroom. She's in kindergarten and does not want to go to school. Teachers are placed in positions where they're expected to manage these complex needs without adequate training. Please fund the education.
Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Abby Wilson, a District 5 resident, and I'm here in support of increase in the budget of our libraries. I am right on the cusp of Gen Z and Millennial. The exact cutoff is debatable. But what isn't debatable is that I grew up during a quite fast-paced evolution of technology and education. I still learned math on the wobbly, transparent sheets of an overhead projector. I crafted essays in cursive and blue or black ink, but it also was a very special day when we could go to the computer lab or had a visit from the laptop cart. One of the central environments where I developed those skills to be technologically savvy, to problem solve, to be resourceful and adaptable, alongside becoming a lifelong reader and learner, was my school library. As an adult, public libraries have continued to support my needs. I've crafted grad school essays, I've sought career development resources, I've spoken directly with librarians about their own career paths, largely because my research helped me conclude that I'm interested in transitioning into library science myself. But I'm still a member of the community. I've watched my nephews thrive in Babies in Bloom classes and extend their early literacy and learning through partnerships like ABC Mouse. I've checked out books beachside through ebook services. I've printed a lot of sheet music to prepare for community theater. There are many resources that I don't personally utilize, but that's exactly the point. Libraries, at their core, hold up entire communities. Tax assistance, language learning, archiving family photos, overall digital access, food, warmth, belonging. It's not just books. The leaders in our county libraries are more articulated than me to identify their specific needs, but I know the expenses of a public library can include book and technology acquisition and repair, building maintenance, and programming supplies. I also know none of the above would be possible without the passionate and talented workforce behind it. Ultimately, higher funding ensures library staff have what they need so they can continue evolving with changing times and giving that support right back into the community. Third spaces have been disappearing throughout my lifetime. Libraries are one of the few that remain. We should continue to uplift and invest in the ones that persevere. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and so for the last 6 District 5 residents who are signed up to speak, I'm calling Lauren Meyer, Shub Agnihotri, Amy Leahy, Ralph Young, Laureen Carr, and Chip Walsh.
Hi again. I'm Lauren Burke-Meyer and grew up in Chartwell on Linwood Drive. I moved back to Chartwell in 2020 with my family and began advocating for a London Lane sidewalk the same year. I've seen firsthand how much the Linwood Drive sidewalk benefited my community. The need for a London Lane sidewalk has been discussed for many years, off and on. Now with 3 young daughters, ages 7 and under, regularly walking the street, I'm committed to making and keeping this a budget priority. London Lane is approximately a quarter-mile narrow street connecting Linwood Drive and St. Andrews Road. It's a quarter-mile from Benfield Elementary and across the street from Severna Park Middle School. It's a key route for pedestrians, cyclists, strollers, scooterists, and vehicles serving multiple schools. As chair of the Chartwell Community Association's London Lane Committee, I've yet to hear anyone oppose the sidewalk. Neighbors, the Linwood London Lane Crossing Guard, and school staff have all expressed the value in adding a sidewalk. This request isn't about convenience, it's about public safety. Congestion, snow, ice, or leaves force people further into the already narrow road. Sunrise often blinds drivers during morning commutes, and the street fills with cars during school events and weekend sports. A sidewalk would guide both foot and vehicle traffic. Thank you, Mr. Pittman, for your willingness to hear us out, as well as your leadership, transparency, and accountability during your term. Also, thank you to Council Member Amanda Fielder and her aide, Pam Scarborough, for open communication on this community priority. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shub Agnihotri. I serve on the Anne Arundel County Transportation Commission. I'm here today to humbly request that the budget include a 100% increase of the Office of Transportation budget. Last time I was here, I was the only person to advocate for transit improvements, so that's an 100% increase as well. If the county desires a reduction of traffic on our arterial roads, then we must make significant investments in alternative methods of transportation, primarily into our bus system. The Office of Transportation has done great things with what little money they have, and doubling their budget could allow them to run a transit system with 20 to 30 minute headways, unlike what is currently in place, which is 1 bus every hour. Funding could partially be sourced from the roadway expansion projects, like expansion projects for Route 2, Route 3, and I-97, which are all, I think, short-sighted and poor decisions. We should be inducing demand for transit and pedestrian infrastructure, not placing more cars on the road. Anne Arundel County Transit can be great, but only if we choose to fund it. A bus from Fort Meade to Cape St. Clair would be very nice if it goes along Benfield Road. I've got 50 seconds left, so I'll pitch this idea. We could revitalize Marley Station Mall as well. We could make it into a transit center, like community center and grocery, and also hopefully extend the light rail down its original alignment to reach that and become like sort of a pillar of that area in that community. And potentially we could eminent domain, let's say, half the parking lot and redevelop it to be something so that that mall doesn't rot out and die and turn into a data center like has been done in Prince George's County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Amy Leahy. I'm a resident of Severna Park. I don't have prepared remarks. I just came in here sort of unprepared, but taking notes. I like John Corrin's passion to the bike AAA. I realize that we do need to have more walking trails and bike trails. However, we also have areas where we've needed these for a long time, and specifically I'll talk about Jumpers Hole Road between Benfield and East-West, which we have been for at least 20 years trying to get sidewalks there for students to walk to school, for people to be able to walk to Kinder Farm Park, and it is still just in the books. Maybe someday we'll actually see some sidewalks. Anyway, recreation areas, that was my big thing when I worked at Recreation and Parks, and I actually sat in on subdivision reviews. Recreation areas are not provided these days. There is in the county code a requirement for, I think it's 1,000 feet for every house you put in there. It doesn't even, never gets addressed anymore. We build these subdivisions, including the new one that's going to be built for 135 townhomes where the Severna Park, golf center is right now. No recreation provided. And I don't know how you expect for people to be able to go outside and enjoy being outside and be able to promote having some kind of more transient orientation and all that if you don't have recreation area for the kids and you don't have places for the people to actually sit and meet. And as Elizabeth was saying, Ritchie Highway, we're going to build sidewalks and bike lanes on Ritchie Highway. Well, how safe is that? It's not. I'm just saying it'd be nicer to be able to actually have areas where people can walk and be able to go short distances without having to get out on the Ritchie Highway to go to a doctor's office or pick up groceries, because let's face it, people take their cars when they do that kind of thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Ralph Youngs. I'm a resident of District 5. I'd like to first thank Councilperson Fiedler for challenging the Golf Center development. It fails for many reasons. Traffic impact, it's not an affordable housing program, and it's a huge increase in impervious surface, something that the Magazine watershed really can't handle. And it suggests that we need to readdress zero runoff regulations. Secondly, and most importantly, I'd like to thank the county government for completing the assessment of the shelter. It was much needed and came to an obvious conclusion that we all saw, that it's inadequate both in structure and in function. Having said that, we really need to move on and try to attract the largest spectrum of national shelter design experience, because we can't do it alone. It's not going to be possible to do it within the county or without a coalition. We must create the most attractive and inviting design to keep up with the needed adoptions and the necessary improved and operational capacity for care. One thing to note is that since COVID, intakes at the shelter have increased at 12% a year. Adoptions, on the other hand, have only increased at 6% a year. And at the same time, shelter spay-neuter counts within the county have declined 6% a year. So it's important that those issues be addressed going forward. Otherwise, we'll never meet the suggested $300 per square feet. It's going to be more like $400 to $600 a square feet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Maureen Carr-York. 20 years ago, 2006, I began my first term as president of the Greater Severna Park Council. We were in a real crisis at that point over Jumpers Hole Road, and we still are. Nothing's been done in terms of a shovel in the ground and work done. We do appreciate the work of some of the planning people from Public Works who have done a great deal of work. That project is ready to be funded for construction and to go. It's in the line, it's in a good position. I just ask you in this very tough budget year that it not be cut. Children cannot walk on that segment between Retford and Edinburgh because there not only is not a sidewalk, there's no shoulder. The pavement, the road itself ends right on the grass, which is consumed with trees. I mean, there's no place to walk, not even on a grass strip. So that is very much needed, and I beg you to see that that continues. Also, concerns are for our schools, that you have the support staff in place and that they be properly compensated to keep them in place. I'm talking about the health staff, the school nurse program, and the health aides who assist in that program. They're very much needed, and they need to be properly compensated. I'm also in support of the TSAs and the teaching assistants in our schools. They are of tremendous value in a classroom with a student who has every right to be there but needs to support in order to be there, so that other students are not negatively impacted by their presence and by getting to know each other and be classmates. I'm right on the money, so I'm going to end there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chip Walsh from Gambrels. Thank you all for the things that you've done to make our county the best place. I've seen a lot of progress.
Chip, can you stand a little closer to the mic?
Thank you for hosting these budget town halls. It's really eye-opening to see the number of requests that you get that you have to meet with limited funding. I'll share my thoughts on that. The current project to improve the intersection of Gambrels Road and Dykus Mill Road is projected to cost nearly $6 million. It's an engineering solution to a compliance problem. Motorists drive Gambrels Road at far above the speed limit. That's the problem. Enforce the speed limit and find a better use for that $6 million. I want to see the county develop Valentine Creek Park. The community portrays it as pristine wilderness, but actually it has many social trails and old roads that are actively eroding. And a properly managed park will be a big improvement. Funding for Valentine Creek is included in 2 umbrella accounts, planning accounts. I can't tell how much is going to Valentine's Creek. It's important work, should be funded, should have its own budget. I applaud the progress the county has made on the South Shore Trail. Please continue that work. And it's a long way from District 5, and I may never use it, but I was really shamed at the way the county closed Discovery Village. There was no apparent logic, no input from the community, sketchy justification, and in our county, water access is so limited that we don't need to be irrationally giving away places where we have, we're not giving it away, but closing places where we have access. Please buy Discovery Village.
Thank you. Okay, so that was all of our District 5 residents, and now we are going to have the other speakers deliver their remarks. Just a reminder, it's 2 minutes each. I'll be calling you. Please come up to the mic in the order in which you're called, and remember to speak into the microphone. So we're going to call Samantha Zline, Mike Shire, O'Brien Atkinson, and Don Bailey.
Good evening. My name is Samantha Zline, and I am the branch manager at the Severna Park Library, one of the 2 libraries in District 5, along with the Broadneck branch. Together, these libraries welcomed more than 243,000 visitors last year, and customers checked out more than 752,000 items, clear evidence of how deeply our community relies on library services. Every library in our district is dedicated to supporting and empowering residents and creating a true place to belong, a space where everyone is welcomed, respected, and supported. In just the past few weeks, my staff has presented kindergarten readiness programs multiple times a week, including evening and weekends, and visited daycares, and we've added a sensory-friendly story time too. We've helped customers install apps to download free books and audiobooks and stream movies. We've distributed information about the library and county services at the local food pantry, and we rang in the new year with over 100 preschoolers at our New Year's Eve event. Our customers truly value these services. Here's what they've had to say. Your professionalism, kindness, and dedication reflect the true strength of our county's library system. I retired this year, and the regular programs help me make new friends and feel less lonely. I can't tell you how much it means to me to be able to bring my child and have access to events and materials that celebrate all people. Meaningful interactions like these happen every day across our library system, highlighting the essential role libraries play in strengthening our communities. Libraries are needed now more than ever, and it's because of the people who make them run. Today's library staff are social workers, IT technicians, job counselors, educators, and peacemakers, meeting people where they are and helping them move forward. To continue providing the high-quality services our community relies on, we respectfully ask the county to honor the recent collective bargaining agreement by funding the 3% merit increase and the 3% cost of living adjustment for all library staff. I want to express my sincerest gratitude to County Executive Pittman and Councilmember Fiedler for their continued support of our libraries, including past market rate adjustments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Mike Shire with the Fraternal Order of Police here in Anne Arundel County. Mr. County Executive, you talked tonight about prioritizing, and I just want to remind you of something that you've said a number of times in the past. I haven't heard you say it in a while, but you've said public safety is the most fundamental obligation of government. Let's keep that in mind when we talk about some of the things that I had a conversation with Chris Trumbauer, your budget officer, earlier tonight about one of his slides saying how much progress we've made in police staffing since 2019. In December of 2019, we had 790 sworn police officers. Today, counting the most recent retirement, 791. One officer improvement. The firefighters are going to come up here in a little bit, and they're going to tell you the same thing they said last night. They had a report done about their staffing levels and how they fall far below national standards. We had a report done about our police department in 2016, 10 years ago. It said we should have 824 officers. That was 10 years ago. We have never hit that mark. By all accounts, yours, other elected officials in this county, we should have anywhere between 1,100 and 1,300 police officers. We're 30% short. It's not 4% or anything like that. We're 30% short. And that shortage is borne on the shoulders of the officers that are doing this job every single day. We are moving from 8-hour shifts to 12-hour shifts because our chief has recognized that we are basically in a long-standing emergency and we cannot continue to sustain. We have to find a way to staff the road. But that means for these citizens, you call the police, you call 911, how are you going to feel when that officer's been on 11 hours when they come to help you out? 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and 5 years ago, we had more line-level officers serving the citizens of Anne Arundel County than we do today. Again, we are begging you, begging you, begging you to please do something about our staffing for the public safety of this county. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. County Executive, Councilwoman Fiedler. My name is O'Brien Atkinson. I'm the president of our local Fraternal Order of Police. I have a couple of messages. One, the staffing numbers are hard to follow, but they're easy to manipulate. We're one of the only counties that have more firefighters than police officers. And as stated earlier, there aren't enough firefighters. Your predecessors cut our staffing. You could easily bring us up to full staffing because, after all, it's a numbers game. You could cut all of our unfunded positions like John Leopold did 16 years ago. We're still digging our way out of that. And you have been, I think, trying to help, trying to assist. You haven't cut our pay. You haven't cut our benefits. The other thing you haven't done is fix this problem. And it's a serious, serious problem. And I see it every day. I see it with our officers. They're overworked. They are doing everything they can, and including moving to this 12-hour shift. Many officers did not want to go to a 12-hour shift. Half of our officers did not want to go to a 12-hour shift. But we all recognize the staffing emergency. We're all stepping up to do the job. But when the 12-hour shift doesn't work, where are we going to be? We're going to be in a very unsafe place. And we don't want to be there. We want your continued investment. We want your continued leadership. We can't do it without our taxpayers and without our county government. So please keep that in mind. Think about our staffing. Do what we can to retain and hire some of the best police officers in the state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Don Bailey. I'm speaking on behalf of the Friends of Historic Johns Hopkins House. We request that you allocate funds to the FY27 budget to acquire historic Whites Hall, which was established by a land grant in 1665 to Jerome White. The Hopkins family is a significant part of the story at Whites Hall. Gerard Hopkins I, English by birth, arrived in the province of Maryland, not the state, in 1661 as an indentured servant. Gerard Hopkins II married Margaret Johns, and they had 10 children. They joined the Society of Friends, the Quakers, in Galesville while acquiring considerable land throughout colonial Maryland, including Whites Hall in 1714. Upon Gerard's death in 1743, the farm was inherited by Johns Hopkins the Elder. He married Elizabeth Thomas, and to outdo his parents, they had 11 children, while continuing to run the tobacco farm. In 1759, Samuel Hopkins was born, and he later married Hannah Janney. They also had 11 children, prolific family. They had original portions of the house built in 1780 under their tenure. I'd like you to meet Johns Hopkins and his third great nephew, Sam Hopkins. On May 19th in 1795, Johns Hopkins was born right upstairs in Whites Hall. He attended the Anne Arundel County Free School in Davidsonville. He did not inherit Whites Hall, his older brother Joseph did. Johns eventually became a director of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad and president of the Merchants Bank of Baltimore in 1847. He served as director of several other institutes as well. When he died from pneumonia on December 24th, 1873, he willed most of his fortune, $7 million, to the city to fund the Johns Hopkins University, which opened in 1876, followed by the hospital in 1888. Family descendants lived on Whites Hall until 1910, when the property was sold out of the family. You can see how important this family is to the history of Maryland. Their home must be saved.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Lubna Presley, Katie Cook, Joy Ryder Simpson, and Ralph Suppa.
Good evening. My name is Lubna Presley, and I'm a proud Arundel High School alum and Anne Arundel County resident for over 30 years. I'm here to urge the council to support funding for a field house at Arundel High School. Arundel High School's story began in 1854 as the Anne Arundel Academy, making it one of the oldest public secondary schools in Maryland. For more than 170 years, our community has invested in education and opportunity. Today, Arundel is one of 2 schools in our county that does not have a field house. Why would we need a field house, you would ask? Quite frankly, I ask the same thing. Today, Arundel High serves over 2,200 students in a building that opened in 1972. However, it lacks the modern athletic and ADA accessible facilities found at newer and updated schools across our county. This means there's no ADA accessible walkways to the softball, baseball fields, or the multi-use fields behind the baseball field, which is used by both sports and music, disenfranchising anyone that would like to participate in these backfields. A field house would alleviate these shortcomings. This building would also provide much needed bathroom facilities within a reasonable distance of the field, along with a safe place to shelter during inclement weather. This space is not solely used by the high school. These spaces are utilized by GORC, Anne Arundel County Parks and Rec, along with other private groups in the district. Currently, Arundel is not slated for any capital improvement projects within AACPS in the next 10 years. Meanwhile, enrollment continues to grow as developments like Two Rivers add hundreds of new students to the Arundel cluster. As County Executive Pittman stated, our capital investments must keep pace with the growth and ensure that public facilities serve both our students and the broader community in an equitable way. A field house at Arundel hits on every one of those metrics. A field house would honor Arundel's legacy while preparing it for the future, supporting student health, community recreation, and equitable access for all. Few schools in Maryland can claim Arundel's history. This legacy deserves facilities that meet today's needs, and I respectfully ask the council to support funding for Arundel High School field house.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Katie Cook, and I'm the Vice Chair of the Library Foundation. I'm here tonight to advocate for the library's supplemental budget request, specifically for salary increases to fund 4 operationally essential positions. Public libraries are no longer just places to borrow books. They're essential community infrastructure. For students, the library is a learning hub, offering homework help, tutoring, reliable internet, and a quiet place to study. For job seekers, the library is where resumes are written, applications submitted, and new skills learned. For seniors, families, and those facing isolation, the library provides connection, programs, and trusted help. The mission of AACPL is to build stronger communities, and our libraries carry out that mission every day through programs, services, and one-on-one support that strengthen individuals, families, and neighborhoods. A customer at the Broadneck Library recently told staff that the importance of the branch's early reader book club was essential. This parent said, "This was the first time my son felt comfortable reading out loud, and I know the club will really help him continue to grow as a reader." As a reading specialist, I know how critical this confidence in helping build student success academically is. Libraries are also one of the most efficient investments the county can make. With stable funding, libraries leverage partnerships and community support to stretch every dollar, delivering services that support economic development, literacy, and public well-being. As part of this investment, we respectfully ask that you approve the 3% merit increase and cost of living adjustment outlined in our collective bargaining agreement. Librarians and library staff make tremendous difference in the lives of residents, and honoring this agreement affirms the county's commitment to the people who carry out this work every day. Demand for library services continues to grow. Over the last 4 years, library visits have increased nearly 30%, and circulation is up 17%, clear evidence that residents are relying on their libraries more than ever. To meet this demand, the library needs funding for critical back-of-house positions, including materials management, human resources, and maintenance. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Testing. Is that good?
Yes, great. A little closer. There you go.
2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Hi, Joy Ryder Simpson. I'm a teacher in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, and I'm here tonight to ask you to make some tough decisions about the school budget that Dr. Bedell has proposed to you. We realize that this is a very difficult budget cycle given the cuts that have been made on the federal level to the education budget. And we do realize that most likely that we will not be fully funded, that the budget will not be fully funded in the way Dr. Bedell has requested. Teachers in Anne Arundel County are asking you to, however, fund these parts of his budget fully. First, we're asking you to fund fully the 82.2 SPED special education positions. Next, the 10 ELD positions, the 2 school counselors he's requesting, the 1 social worker, the 1 school psychologist, the 1 PPW position, and the TSA hourly pay increase. We would ask that you fund that fully. The other thing that teachers in the county are asking you to fund fully, and actually go beyond what he asked for, is the 2% increase for teacher compensation. 2% is insulting. And this is why I want you to tell Bedell that it is insulting. It's insulting because teachers have experienced a crisis both in funding and in their ability to do their jobs fully. And if you look at the statistics, since 2020, according to the Brookings report and CNBC, inflation has increased 25.1%, but school jobs and school compensation for teachers and educators have not. When we also look at the key indices, experts expect that inflation will increase more than 3% this year, which means that at 2%, teachers will not even be meeting the cost of inflation this year. Next, the federal government agrees with these funding figures when they agree to a COLA of 2.8% for Social Security. For these reasons, we're asking you as teachers to help us live more fully within Anne Arundel County. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you
Just
got
going
it.
with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. I speak to not just you two, but my fellow District 5 compadres. I have been a District 5 resident for over 30 years. I've been a county firefighter for 22 years. I am so thrilled to get to serve all of you. The reason I am here is to show you that the county public safety is built on a foundation of sand. You've heard the police say they need staffing. In the fire department, we need staffing too, but it's not about our safety in the fire service. What this boils down to is District 5 especially is very vulnerable to what's going on with these staffing concerns. You only have one station in all of District 5 that has the national minimum standard. That is a special operations, which means they run the entire county and also run outside of this district. You also have another special operations that runs outside of the county and handles water emergencies. So not only are we understaffed in this district specifically, but we also have two that are already down. Going back to mental health and traffic conditions, you're going to see plenty of EVs. How many here have e-bikes or e-scooters in their house? All these lithium-ion battery fires are burning hotter and faster, creating faster spread. These traffic patterns are now creating a further distance and a harder time for us to get to these. So when you're understaffed and not running as closer stations, that's also mental health. If we lose one of these children in our community due to a fire because we can't get there, that is the bigger concern. You're going to have a major mental health problem as well. Budget Officer Trumbauer talked about comparing to our neighbors earlier. Well, we don't compare when it comes to Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Prince George's County, or Howard County when it comes to staffing our firefighters. Again, it's not about our safety as firefighters. We have chosen to serve you, protect you. Give us the resources to do that adequately. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're approaching the finish line, so energy up, everyone. Next, we have Casey Cameron, Phil Miller, Adam Palinkas, and Joe Adavinola.
Good evening, County Executive Pittman and Councilwoman Amanda Fiedler. My name is Casey Cameron, the Vice President of the Anne Arundel County Professional Firefighters. I'm here tonight with a simple message. Staff the fire department to the national minimum standard now. For the last 8 straight years, firefighters have stood at these microphones warning that the system is unsafe. Last fall, an independent third-party standards of coverage study confirmed it. We are at least 350 firefighters short. It's not a projection, it's not an estimate, it's 350. District 5 is uniquely exposed, from dense neighborhoods like Millersville to the waterfront communities along the Severn and Magothy rivers. Coverage is stretched beyond safe limits. Many of these areas require marine fire suppression, yet today there are 0 independently staffed marine resources. Every day, firefighters in this county are sent out with fewer people, fewer resources, and shrinking safety margins. My brothers and sisters are exhausted. The burnout is real, and this is not sustainable. Last year, Anne Arundel County professional firefighters responded to an all-time high of over 103,000 calls for service, 7% more than last year. We are not asking for extras. We're not asking for favors. We are demanding the bare minimum required to safely do our job. County Executive Pittman, stop worrying about state and national problems. Focus on Anne Arundel County public safety, and maybe we'll meet the national minimum standards. In closing, if Anne Arundel County continues to operate below national minimum staffing standards, someone will be seriously injured or killed. And let me be clear, it will not be because firefighters failed to do their job. It will be because this administration chose not to act, despite the warnings, despite the data, and despite an independent study telling you exactly what needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak again tonight. I've spoken at every single one you guys have put on. I've been a county resident all my life. Here we go again. What is the problem? The problem is everybody wants something. Needs it. Not even really wants it, needs it. But yet, Mr. Trumbauer's jumping up and down because we're still part of the lowest tax bracket counties in the state of Maryland. That's a bunch of bull. If we raise taxes, you get more for your buck. And our citizens deserve that. Again, you're running a Champagne service, which our public safety Everybody at school is giving our citizens, which they deserve, on a beer budget. It's time to stop. We've asked, everybody's asked, stop jumping up and down about low taxes. Oh, we're in the low bottom. The citizens will be fine if you tell them what you're putting the tax for. Public safety tax will help Anne Arundel County and make you all look better. It will be safer for us and the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, County Executive Pittman and Councilwoman Fiedler. My name is Adam Palinkas. I'm a resident of Anne Arundel County and the Secretary-Treasurer of the Anne Arundel County Professional Firefighters. For nearly 8 years, we have warned that the county's emergency response system is being held together by overworked firefighters and luck. When seconds count, minutes matter. And right now, minutes are being lost. Emergency response standards requires a specific number of firefighters on scene. Because this county refuses to staff adequately, we are forced to send extra apparatus just to assemble enough people to do the job safely. The problem has never been apparatus. It's always been staffing. Although the county now staffs a minimum of 3 firefighters on apparatus, the national standard is 4. That standard is met at only 4 of our 31 stations. Every surrounding jurisdiction meets it. When you drive by a fire station and you see multiple bay doors, don't let that create a false sense of security. This county relies on cross-staffing, where one crew is assigned to multiple pieces of equipment. When that first unit leaves, the others sit unstaffed. The county's independent standards of coverage study asked a simple question: can the fire department meet community needs with current staffing and resources? The answer was no. The study found that chronic understaffing and cross-staffing delay response times and prevent enough firefighters from arriving quickly enough to safely manage serious incidents. Let me be clear, 3-person staffing is not enough. 4-person crews allow life-saving tasks to happen faster. Delays cost lives. The recommendation in this report are minimal requirements, not a wish list. End cross-staffing and fund 4-person staffing. Firefighters will continue to respond, that's our oath. But dedication does not replace staffing, and heroics are not a public safety strategy. The county now has a clear independent roadmap to fix this system. The question is whether the leadership will act before tragedy makes the decision for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Councilwoman Fiedler, County Exec Pittman. My name is Joe Divinola. I'm president of Anne Arundel County Professional Firefighters. Mr. Pittman, for the last 8 years, we have advocated for safe staffing for public safety. It's not a luxury, but it has a need to save lives and property. As a county resident, it's good to hear that Mr. Trumbauer shows our income tax and property tax levels low. Hundreds of millions of dollars in the rainy day fund and adding millions of dollars more to the Board of Ed. One figure I want to talk about that Mr. Trumbauer has left out in his slideshow is the amount it would cost to replace a human life. In one fire, we can lose a firefighter or a resident. With mass shootings happening every month across the country, we could lose one or more of our police officers. I'm not trying to scare anybody in this room, but I've been to many line of duty deaths across this state, and Anne Arundel County is not exempt from that. I hear Mr. Trumbauer say that we have many partnerships in our bargaining units, that we're all in this together. But are we? Does anyone in this room believe that Baltimore City, Howard County, Baltimore County, Montgomery County deserve better, safer staffing than you? I can tell you right now, they meet NFPA minimum staffing standards of 4 firefighters on every engine and truck leaving their fire stations. Let that sink in. I promise you, when you see my face on TV for a line of duty death, I'm going to point a finger at some of the people in this administration. Luck doesn't last forever. In the last 8 years, our voices have fell on deaf ears. With thousands of applicants applying at our recent entrance exam, the county hired 35. You know how many added new positions that equates to? 0. Mr. Trumbauer, the number of staff and positions that the study shows, all those numbers you put on the screen don't mean anything to me and my members. To me, it's the same old champagne taste on a bare budget. As a resident, this is unacceptable. As a leader of the largest public safety union in Anne Arundel County, it's an insult. Mr. Pittman, your administration has to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so those are all of our speakers who signed up to speak this evening. We're now going to open the floor for anyone who has not yet spoken and feels inspired so to do. Anybody? Okay, seeing none. We'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening and for a productive and engaging dialogue. I'm going to turn it back over to our elected officials for some closing remarks. We'll start with Councilwoman Fiedler.
Ending with public safety is always a challenge. I've cried at this part, so I'm not going to get into too many details, but for the members of the public who are still here and the members who are watching at home, I can't give public safety employees enough gratitude and recognition for the daily sacrifices that you make and the way you put your lives in danger to save others. I don't bake the cake, as they say, and I know that you all know that, but if I was baking the cake, essential government function starts with public safety, and I'll leave it at that. For our transportation folks, I'm incredibly excited that we do have the Broadneck Trail almost officially opening. I'm an avid walker of it. I love that the South Shore Trail is on its way too. The Jumpers Hole project is actually with BGE right now. They are doing their design to reallocate poles. Construction is set for 2027, and I absolutely will make sure that stays in the budget to the best of my ability. I think it will. Our library folks, I know some of them have left. Abby, I think you spoke so eloquently that you moved someone to tears over here, so don't doubt your speaking ability. You did a fantastic job. I look forward to seeing what the budget has in store for you all. Our public school folks, special education, national board certified counselors, you know, when the budget gets to us, we do try to find a way to prioritize, and hearing from students in mental health, of course, we will do everything that we can to work with you all and address some of those concerns. I know Leah has left from the food bank, but such an incredible organization, and they're one of those organizations that also has volunteer and donation support, just like our friends over at Animal Services, the Volunteers in Purple. So outside of county funding, if you have it in your heart to look into those organizations and contribute, I totally support everyone supporting our organizations in the county. The Arundel High School Field House, I think Delegate Pruski may be working on this as well at the state level. I did not know that the school did not have a field house until recently. Arundel High School is actually a new school to District 5, right inside the border, right on the line. So thank you for coming all the way over here to speak this evening. Animal Services, I agree with you, deafening sound. I can't even go in the dog room sometimes, depending on the level of speaking activity coming from the dogs. So I can only imagine. I know we do have to find a location, even if that's the first step. We know funding and construction can take a lot more time, but I think keeping the ball rolling and investigating where we could potentially put a new location is important. Let me see, I'm trying to, Mr. Burke from Cape Cougars, I know he may have left, but in case he is watching at home or will watch this recording, I would love to have a follow-up conversation with the county executive and department on the policy, because I know the Green Hornets have also shown interest in funding improvements to county parks, and that would, I think, allocate money to other organizations that aren't able to do so. Okay, almost done here. Friends of Johns Hopkins, I appreciate the photo, the portrait. That was fantastic, Mr. Bailey. We spoke many weeks ago, and I told you about these town halls, and you said you were going to step it up this year, and you most certainly did, including visual support. London Lane Sidewalk, that is in the capital improvement project. I believe it is slated for 2027 design or construction, one of the two. It is in the pipeline. I'll keep an eye on that in the capital improvement project. I don't know where our resident went, but I'm keeping tabs on that one. And again, I just can't speak to our public service and safety officials enough. You go to all of these. I know the animal folks do too. For those that come out every year, year over year over year, you are the reason that the needle moves. So just thank you so much, and thank you to the residents who took the time to come this evening. Please reach out to me with any questions. I'm happy to meet with anyone and everyone at any given time. My name or my email is on the County Council website, and I have some of my aides' cards here this evening. Thank you.
So I'll be perfectly honest that when the public safety partners get up and tell me that I'll be blamed for the first death, the next death that comes, I react internally. I get angry inside. My staff has said, why do you let the labor unions, the employees of the county, come to these town halls and give them a forum to speak to the residents? You know, it's right before negotiations. It doesn't make any sense. And we thought about whether or not that was the right thing to do. When I came in, I said that I was going to work as a partner with the unions in Anne Arundel County, public safety and others. And we have not been to arbitration because we have managed to get contracts every year. And we did increase taxes the first year, both property and income taxes. I was told there was no way that any of us who voted for that, the 4 folks on the council who voted for it or myself, would get reelected. That turned out not to be a problem. We did a tax increase twice. In fact, the second time was on the income tax so that we could raise the tax for the highest income earners at the very top, because that was something that we thought was a more fair way to raise revenue. I'll tell you, I would love to have a public safety tax so that the taxpayers knew that their money was going to, they knew exactly what it was going to. And I would even like to have referendums if we could do that. We don't have authorization to do any of those things. And if you can find me 4 council members that are willing to raise taxes to even call it a public safety increase, I'll do it. You know what the answer to that is that there's not the political will from those folks to do that. I'm not running for office again, so it's not an issue for me as much as maybe for some others. But here we are, and we have a limited amount of money. What I will not do is cut funds to programs that serve our most vulnerable residents who are barely getting by to be able to transfer within the budget. The cuts at the federal level are particularly impacting them. You've seen what's happened with SNAP and some others. It's been really gratifying for me to hear, particularly from some of the younger folks interested in transit and other multimodal transportation. In fact, there was a lot of talk about multimodal for sidewalks, for transit, and for trails, bike trails. It's a really hard transition. I think most of you know that, to get to multimodal from the car-based networks that we have and lifestyle that we have. But I believe that we have to continue to push that. It was also great hearing from some of the Youth Advisory Council members about mental health and asking us to continue to invest in mental health and in our crisis response system, which is pretty extraordinary as well. We've got some of our frequent flyers. I'd love to hear from you. The animal care and, well, now animal services, we call it. I kind of get a kick out of the fact that first the big win was like cat cages, and now we're talking about having done a study for a new facility. And I'll tell you that the study for the new facility, Claudia Roll asked just about a week ago. She said, okay, we got it back. It says we need a new one. What do you want us to do with it? Should we make it public? Should we show it to staff? Should we show it to the friends of? How soon do you want to do that? And we said, just go ahead. And she released it that very day. And the next day, of course, you all had it on social media, and you came here ready to advocate, even telling us what we should do about the architect. So it's progress can be made, and I think it's necessary. We got a lot on capital project things on sidewalks, and I'll promise you that we're not taking anything out of the budget on Jumpers Hole. Will happen. I understand actually that there's a problem with BG&E on that, but you know more about that than I do. I will also tell you that Councilwoman Fiedler and I, even though we're not from the same political party, we meet every year and we talk about what the priorities should be. And while she hasn't voted for every budget, she's voted for some, and I think it's been a good partnership. And I will acknowledge that she knows every inch of her district and advocates for the things that people are interested in. Our library folks, our food bank folks, I think you and Animal Services probably won the award for the most testimony. And maybe over 8 years, you probably won the award as well. Congratulations on that. Just thank you for everybody who's showed up and take your time to share what you care about. And hopefully most of you have walked out of here with additional issues that you care about and understand that we have a lot of needs in this county. And like I said in the beginning, I believe, and I think most of us believe, government does matter and it is a force for good. And if we invest in effective government, we really do get things done. So yeah, let's go out and raise some more money so we can fund everything. Thanks.
Okay, that concludes our evening. Thank you very much. Have a good night, everyone.